Hi, welcome back to our channel, Two Brothers Opinions. My name is Barry, this is my brother Mark.
Yeah, so what are we doing today?
All right, well, today we're going to talk about vaccinations.
Oh.
So it's kind of a controversial subject. We can
Well,
see
now, lately, yeah.
lately, yeah, because when people speak truth about vaccinations, especially Robert F. Kennedy Jr., then all of a sudden he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Even the Democrats.
Yep, they used to love him. But,
They used to love him, now they hate him because he's working with Trump, just trying to make America
healthy again. Which, it's not, I don't know why topics like this drive people crazy. It's like, hey, you know what? There's this stuff we found in your food. And if we can get it out, that would be better for you. And people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah. That's crazy.
They've been talking about getting red dye out of food products forever.
Yeah.
There was a Democrat that, here we go again, beating the Democrats. But I'm sorry, but
they deserve it.
It is what it is. She's been talking about this for years. He got it done.
Oh, I saw that.
And she's upset about it.
Yep, I saw that. She was going at him. I watched it. She was going at him.
Yep.
And he was like, he goes, I've been in this for a few months. He goes, we've been in this, the Trump administration been in for like 130 days. He said, you've been doing this for like 20 years. He goes, I got it done in like 130 days. He goes, give me credit.
Yeah.
She couldn't.
No, she won't. They won't.
I've been trying to do this we'll get it done. That's the other thing that drives me crazy about about Democrats. It's like, well, we've been trying to do this and we've been trying to cut things. Well, you know what? When you had the presidency and both houses of Congress, when you had it, why didn't you cut the stuff you say you were trying to do?
Because they only do that to get the votes, get in power, reap the benefits, and
then
to heck with it.
And then when the other party gets in, and I think some Republicans do this too. Well, when the other party's in, they're like, they're evil. So but then when you get in, you don't do anything.
You don't do anything about it.
They need term limits.
Absolutely.
They need term limits bad.
So another thing is it's off the vaccinations, but Tyson Foods said they will have all that type of stuff out of their food within the next like 90 days or 30 days or something.
Good.
Tyson Food. They're getting rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. Because I honestly believe it's the vaccinations and the foods that we eat that lead to a lot of the diseases in this country. And the major one is autism.
Yep.
So
because it wasn't a thing when we were kids.
No.
I knew one person. Remember, you probably don't remember. It was in Prospect. The kid across the street.
I don't remember.
He was probably on the spectrum.
Okay. And you do know something about that?
Yeah,
in your studies.
Right. I was a therapist for 27 years. But I don't remember any ADHD kids. We had a class, first, second, third, fourth grade, whatever, when you think kids would be out of control. Everybody just sat there. It was quiet. And you did your work.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if we're going to eventually get into Callie and Casey Means.
Yeah, I actually...
Those are good. Those are people you should look up, everyone. Callie and Casey Means. And I think Callie she's working in I think she's Callie, right? Yeah. Or is she Casey? I can't remember because it's brother and sister.
I'm trying to find this
They're working in the Trump administration on this stuff. But, when we were little, we all had the vaccination mark.
Yeah, I never got one.
You didn't get one?
No,
did they stop it then? Because, I got the vaccination mark.
Yeah, that was for... Oh my God, I looked that up. I think it was
polio and something else.
Something else.
But we used to, if there was a kid in the neighborhood who had the measles, our parents brought us up there to go get it.
Yeah, because there was no measles vaccination.
No. Measles, mumps.
No, so I actually looked that up.
Yep.
So the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, that was developed in 1971.
Okay,
it was a significant milestone in vaccination development, providing a single shot to fight all three.
Now, it did basically almost eradicate measles from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was and then you let 20 million illegals in, and there's measles outbreaks everywhere now.
Yeah, because they're not
vaccinated.
They're not vaccinated.
Right.
Well, and they're not checking them.
Right.
So what happened when our grandfather came
Oh, God.
to the
Ellis-
United States.
Ellis
Ellis Island.
They had to go through physical
Oh yeah.
checks and stuff.
And they would put you in a separate room if they found anything, if your eyes had a certain color to them, and they would check them all out. And you know what happened? If they had something, you went right back.
Yep.
Now you just walk through. You could have Ebola, and you walk through, and now Ebola is spreading. I'm not saying it is.
I know what you're saying.
But
in theory, you
theory.
could have any communicable disease in
Correct.
the world, and you just walked across the border.
So, interesting fact.
Yes.
How many years of study before the MMR vaccination was either authorized to be used? How long did that study take before they said, this is a good shot?
My guess, it's going to be one of two things. Either years or immediately. Like
8 years.
8 years, okay.
How long was the study for the COVID shot?
Oh, nothing. There wasn't one.
There wasn't one. It was just
Very
rapid.
Although it just came out when going through paperwork and stuff in the Trump administration, they're finding out that they knew that it caused myocarditis.
Mhm.
They knew it. And did it anyways.
He was between a rock and a hard place. This is what I
he had to do something
He had to do something.
because of what he was being told.
And remember, this is his first term.
Right.
He relied on the people that were in government
Yep.
to tell him the truth.
Like Fauci.
And they didn't.
Mm.
Now, things are going on right now. And he's going, hold on a minute. Because he knows these people, a lot of them, are not loyal to what needs to be done in this country. I think if this had happened when he was in power now, that shot would have never been developed.
Not that quick, no. No, but he was like scrambling.
Scrambling's not the word.
Yeah, they were trying to come up with a vaccine. They were trying to come up with ideas. And then Fauci comes up with the 6 feet distance thing that eventually he came out and said, no, we just made that up.
Yep.
And the masks, those kind of blue masks that everyone wore, or masks that people just wore by like taking a piece of cloth, did absolutely nothing to stop anything.
Well, you can't say that on YouTube.
Oh, well, I just did. Masks don't work. And if you're in your car by yourself, driving, take the damn mask off.
Yep.
You're in the car by yourself. Now, I'm not saying everyone who wears a mask is doing it because of, COVID or whatever, because there are people who have other things going on. So, I mean, our dad, when he had bad asthma and stuff, his lungs were shot. There were times when he'd be mowing the lawn or whatever, and the pollen and everything else. So yeah, he would wear like a bandana, but he'd make like a mask out of it. I get that one. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. So there are reasons for that.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find.
I honestly think you're going to change the world. I mean,
I'm trying to find these shorts.
I quit my surgical residency in my 5th and final year after hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just want them to hear that.
My parents threw me a party.
This is Casey Means and Tucker Carlson.
No parent, and they never told me to quit.
Hundreds of thousands of debt.
They were so proud of me.
you're making me emotional.
Yeah.
It sounds like wonderful
That is the
people.
reason. Doctors are in a trap. It's $500,000 of education. You have this guaranteed salary, and all you have to do is drink the Kool-Aid. All you have to do is stay heads down and not ask questions, not ask why. That is so imperative for people to understand is that the reasons we're having surgery, the reasons why we're getting sick, the reasons why American competitiveness is plummeting, the reasons why our kids are chronically ill, half of the kids in America are chronically ill, are all from preventable issues. So if you're
I just wanted you to hear that because I want you guys to look up Casey Means'
That is-
interview with Tucker
and
Carlson.
the male voice besides Tucker Carlson is her brother.
Is her brother.
It's Callie and Casey Means.
Yes, look up that interview, and it's not the clip that I wanted, but it was very important to hear that. She gave up everything that she worked years and years and years,
Yeah,
was
'cause it
making
was-
tons of money,
Yeah.
be in the medical field because it was wrong.
Yeah.
So
And he worked for years in the pharmaceutical industry. He knows what happened and how they work.
So this is about vaccinations, but I needed you guys to hear that. To look up that interview, please, on YouTube. It's on the on YouTube. It's a couple of hours long. Watch it. Very informative.
Yeah, that was with Tucker Carlson.
Yep. She talks about vaccinations. So when your child is born, mothers and fathers, when your child is born, in the first day, they give your child a shot for hepatitis B. You catch hepatitis B through sex and dirty needles. So I don't know about you, but I don't think my kid is having sex or shooting up heroin
the day
they're born. They also put this cream on their eye, and it's for chlamydia. Now, that's another sexually transmitted disease.
But the mothers are tested for that
prior.
So they know the mother doesn't have it.
So why are they doing it?
Right.
So I actually have a picture of this doll represents how many vaccinations a child receives by age 2. I'm hoping that you guys could see this. This child looks like a pincushion. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but I think you guys can. And that is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Did it say how many?
Well, you can't. Well, I mean, you start counting. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and some of those are multiple vaccinations in one.
Right. Yeah, and some of them are. It's like you get it every 6 months, or you get it every year. So yeah, you're getting the same stuff. And some of these vaccinations, I know that you get it once, and you're good for life. Why do you need boosters and you need this and you need that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now I was watching Dr. Peter McCullough, and he just testified before Congress. I think it was last week. It was prior to Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
He was I think it was head of internal medicine at Baylor University in Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
Big
very
hospital,
good school.
right? Good school, good hospital. And he was on he was on the board of, I think it's the American Internal Medicine,
blah blah blah.
Right? Yeah, board or whatever. Anyways, he was a cardiologist too, so he dealt with a lot of stuff. And he was saying that prior to COVID, he could think of one case of like myocarditis.
What is myocarditis?
Myocarditis is the COVID shot with the spike protein and everything else will affect your heart, and people's heart are almost like exploding. They're having blood clots and they're having heart attacks, and we're talking people in like teenagers and 20-year-olds, college kids, just athletes just dropping dead.
Athletes, some athletes are usually in good shape.
They're usually right,
and they're having these massive heart attacks on playing fields.
Yeah, and he said since COVID, his practice went from like one person, 74% of his patients all had it. Yeah. So
what I didn't get,
supposedly they knew this.
What I didn't get is they were pushing the COVID vaccination. So now, to me, a vaccination means that
you're protected against
it. Like, I got the MMR, so did you?
Yep.
I haven't gotten any one of those.
Nope.
But people that I know that had the COVID vaccination and 40,000 boosters still get it.
Yep.
Well, I got COVID again. I said, like, how do you get that?
Easy, because the way they explain it, and I think I was telling you the other day, when you get the shot, it makes you more likely you're going to get it again. Because it's killing you. It's giving you
it's killing your immune system.
Yeah, and it's giving you the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get it again and again and again.
So we just told people to look up Tucker Carlson with Casey Means.
Right.
There's also another video that you can look up for Tucker Carlson. There's an Asian doctor, and he talks about cancer.
I almost said who? Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, that is his name.
Oh, is it?
Doctor Who? No.
Is he on first base?
Sorry. No, that's his brother.
Oh.
He's on first. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know. He's on third.
Okay.
He talks about cancer, and he talks about what do most people get when they get cancer. What do they tell you to do? They tell you,
chemo.
We're going to give you chemo.
Yeah.
Chemo is killing your immune system.
It kills your immune system to fight off the cancer.
To fight off the cancer.
Right.
He says, yes, chemo is very important, but very, very low doses. He explains the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he invested hundreds of millions. This guy's very wealthy. Hundreds of millions of dollars out of his own pocket. They don't even want to talk to him because he could help people and almost cure cancer.
Yep.
Because cancer is what? Big business. That's all it is. Cancer, diabetes, big businesses.
Oh yeah.
They don't want the cures. So anyhow, let's get back to vaccinations. Here's something that's very dear to me and close to my heart, which is autism. So based on 9 vaccinations that children received in 1980, it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism.
Yep.
Now, in 2002, and these vaccinations are done by, recommended by the CDC.
Yeah, right.
Now you're up to 15 vaccinations in 2002. So now it went from 1 in 10,000 kids to 1 in 250 kids. Now the CDC says in 2008, you need 32 vaccinations for your children. Now it's 1 in 88 children. Do you see the progression here, folks?
Yeah.
I'm not making
There's
this
a correlation.
up. Now, 49 vaccinations in 2013 is 1 in 50 kids. This one you're not even going to believe in 2017. 74 vaccinations. It's 1 in 36.
Yeah.
And 1 in 22 in California. Don't understand that. So these are their facts, not mine.
Right, CDC
I'm not
facts.
making this up.
Right. Yeah, and I think people need to understand too, there's a correlation, not a causation. So we're not saying it causes it, but there's a correlation between you increase the number of vaccines and you increase the probability or possibility that you might have a child with autism.
Correct. Now I have another statistic that people usually bring up, if I could find it really quick. Amish. We've heard this before. Amish people, none of their children have autism. Well, that is a myth. But the research that they did was 1 in 271 children have autism in the Amish community. But listen to this though. Based on 1900 Amish children. I think there's more than 1900 Amish children in the world.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And they say, well, it's cultural beliefs and limited healthcare access. No, I believe they don't believe in getting these vaccinations.
Right, but when the country was settled, there wasn't a lot of access, readily, available access to medical stuff.
No.
Now, you can assume, because none of us lived there or lived at that point, but you can assume that there wasn't a lot of this stuff, a lot of autism and a lot of other stuff going on because, they just roughed it. And yeah, all right, their life expectancy was a lot less. And through modern medicine, our life expectancy is
going way up.
High, although lately I think it's gone down again.
Well, geez, I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Then there's people with theories, whether you think it's a good theory, a outlandish theory, whatever, that this is on purpose. They're just trying to decrease the population of the world. And
and Bill Gates is one of those
people. I know.
See, a lot of people think Bill Gates is a great guy. He's not a great guy. The cornerstone of his building in Atlanta, Georgia says the depopulation of the world. He was thrown out of multiple countries for giving vaccinations that were giving people the disease. They don't even, I think India, they don't even want them in India. Get out, and they threw them out. So the reason why I said autism is very near and dear to my heart is in our previous videos, I drive a special needs school bus. And I have a lot of autistic kids on my bus. And I also have a lot of behavioral kids on my bus. And putting the two together is a tough thing. But I see these kids. I've been driving one kid, and I'm going to lose him this year. He's moving up into high school, and I've been driving him for the last 3 years. And we have a relationship. He's kind of nonverbal. He says a few words, but you can see the happiness in his eyes when he sees me. You know, his mom is a great person. But what I wanted to say is, a few years ago, they said there was this. It was all over the news. There was a major spike in autism.
Yep.
Well, I just want to tell you something. There was no major spike in autism. If I could find this, I will tell you what happened. So, what they did was, I don't know if a lot of people heard of Asperger's. Asperger's, like a form of autism. They call it Asperger's syndrome. And what they did was they took people that have Asperger's, which are highly functional, highly intelligent in a lot of different things, but they just can't conform. Certain things bother them.
Yeah, but right, and honestly, it's hard to diagnose Asperger's because it looks like there's nonverbal learning disorders. There's a bunch of disorders that all look alike, and I think sometimes somebody labels something and now everybody has it. You know, it's like when ADD or ADHD came up. Any kid who didn't sit down for 2 minutes, must have ADHD.
Correct.
So sometimes,
correct.
But they also, just to let you know, they took in the DSM, which is the guidebook for diagnosing people when you're a therapist or a doctor or whatever. They took things like Asperger's and a couple other things, and they combined it all into an autism spectrum disorder.
Correct.
So they moved it all into one disorder.
Correct. That's why there was a huge spike.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's part of it too.
Here's also the reason why they don't want to call it Asperger's anymore. Hans Asperger, born 1906, died 1980, was an Austrian pediatrician and psychiatrist who described a group of children with distinct psychological characteristics as autistic psychopathy? Psychopathy.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
I know.
In 1938 to 1944. So his work was not widely recognized until the 1980s, and then his connection with Nazi Germany has led to controversy. So that's why one of the reasons why they took that and don't call it Asperger's anymore, they don't want to give a Nazi scientist credit for this. Great. And I mean, I know people that have Asperger's. I mean, if you watch the movie The Accountant, the first one, that's what he has.
Yeah.
He portrays.
He has autism.
I don't know about banging the wooden stick on his leg and all that like he was doing. I've never heard of anything like that. But the way their brain works very, very different. I mean, they could process multiple numbers.
Well, they were saying that they think Elon Musk has it because of the way he looks and talks and everything.
Yes.
I have no idea.
It's possible.
But I've worked with kids who had Asperger's, and let me tell you, some of these kids their IQ is through the roof.
But they can't function in society. They
have
can't
a hard
hold a job.
They have a hard time, right?
Certain things bother them. Background noises bother me.
Yeah,
if I'm trying to concentrate on something and someone has music blaring in the background, it bothers me.
Right, but it bothers you versus like the way that they react is like it's World War III. Like they're like I
correct.
Can't,
correct.
They have a hard time. But
so we figured we'd touch on this a little bit.
Yeah,
because vaccinations.
Yeah, because it's in the news.
We feel vaccinations are a good thing, but now it's being blown out of proportion. Well, give your kid this, give your kid that, give your kid and I read a thing the other day, and this lady, their kid was 2 years old. She took her kid home. They just went in for a couple of vaccinations, but there were multiple ones.
Okay. Came
home, the kid spiked a huge fever. She called and said, "Look, my kid's got blotches all over it. It has a really bad fever. What do I do?" And they're like, "Well, do this, and for the fever, give him this medicine or whatever, bring the fever down." The kid died.
Yeah.
She said, "My kid was healthy until I brought it to the doctor."
Yep.
For these vaccinations that were on the prescribed time frame. We should be looking into this. Why a kid goes from one shot that has like MMR, we got a couple things when we were kids. Now these kids are getting multiple shots. Why?
Well, I think sometimes I think the doctors get the knowledge on how to either help people, cure people, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to a psychiatrist, and what's the psychiatrist going to do? Hey, I got this problem. Here's a pill, right? It's I need to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, because they put themselves out of business, instead of going to a psychiatrist, say, I'm depressed, and they're like, yeah, well, go, like, what do you do? Change the way you think, get up and move around, like, do other things to be not so depressed.
Instead of sitting there,
Instead of saying,
thinking about
right,
it.
instead of like, well, here's a pill, this will help you, take that pill, and if it doesn't help, and believe me, as a therapist, I worked with a lot of people who were on meds. It's like, a typical one was Wellbutrin. Start you at 150 milligrams. After a couple weeks, we'll bump you up to 300. Then we'll go up to 450. Now 450 was the top dosage. So if the first couple of doses didn't work that well, we're just giving more, right? And then it's like, well, I'm still depressed. Well, we're going to add a second antidepressant. So then they'd add a second one.
On top of the other.
On top of one. Instead of maybe like...
Was there a study to show what combining those two?
Yeah, there are. This is what gets me. There are studies that said that could help people. But here's the other thing. What did our grandparents, great-grandparents, what did they do? If they were depressed, they dealt with it. I mean...
Everybody wants a pill.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So are doctors in a position of, well, I have the knowledge to help you, so I'm here to help you. Instead of, honestly, my doctor, regular doctor, there's a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I think I got the flu, so we'll go home. It'll be, your body will fight it off. You're gonna be sick for a while, then you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like.
My doctor out in Arizona hated me.
Oh.
Hated me. So I was having a lot of trouble with insomnia, and I couldn't sleep for nothing. So I went to go see him, and there was a lot of things on my mind going on. So he says, I forget what the name of the drug was. He says, here, take this. Ambien.
Oh, yeah.
Here, take this pill. This will help you sleep.
Right.
I said, what's that? He goes, this is Ambien. I said, Ambien? I said, do you know what that pill does to people? He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, people get up, bake a cake. They come home. I mean, they wake up and they went out and drove to McDonald's. There's a McDonald's bag on the side of their nightstand. They ate, didn't even know. I said, so you're going to give me a pill that could possibly make me sleepwalk, sleep drive, and this is going to help me? Oh, he hated me. Because what's the side effects of that? Well, what does that matter? Well, it matters to me because it's going in my body.
Right.
Hated me because I questioned everything. He says to me, he says, well, I'll be about a month and a half, and then I'll be back. So if you call, my other doctor will see you. I said, okay, no problem. I came back to see him for something. He retired. He never even told me. He lied to me because he hated me so much. He was a good doctor. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe you have the Hippocratic
Oath.
Hippocratic Oath. You have a duty
do no harm
to your patients to tell them, I could give you this, but this might happen. You gotta know the side effects of what you're putting in your body. Yeah. And he wasn't telling me.
No, because
he was old and he was like, yeah, probably on his last leg to retire.
Oh, yeah, but here's an easy fix. Like, I can't sleep, that'll put you out.
No, I don't want to be out.
Right.
You wake up and you're all euphoric and you don't know where you're at. No, I don't. I'd rather not sleep. Just me. That's how my brain works.
Well,
I'm not doing that.
Here's an interesting thing just popped into my head.
How dare you?
There's a couple of things. One of them was you talked about the McDonald's bag, waking up one day, there's a McDonald's bag. Yeah, that happened with me because I had tequila. But that's a totally
you should have had a burrito.
That's a whole different thing. It wasn't McDonald's. But anyways, I don't remember going there. Anyways, no, the other one is some of the personality disorders, like histrionic. It's one of the things.
I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah, histrionic. You know where it came from?
History teacher.
No, women that were hysterical. This goes way back. You know what they did?
Probably
they gave me hysterectomy.
Oh my God.
Histrionic. It comes from.
Are you serious?
No, I'm serious. That's how they treated it.
So that's going to help them?
That's how they treated it.
Give them a hysterectomy. They can't have children.
Yeah. Well, but the hormonal stuff, you take
Yeah.
you give them a hysterectomy, the hormones level out, they're not hysterical. But this goes way back. Like this is
Yeah,
way
no, I
back.
understand because when you went to school,
Yeah,
you
we're
studied
talking like
this.
probably like 1800s or whatever.
Excuse
But
me.
one of the personality disorders is the histrionic, and that it comes from hysteria and hysterectomy.
Oh,
But
okay.
so there's the medical field that sometimes is
Sure, they wanted to get rid of that. I don't know.
I tell you, sometimes they should have instead of Planned Parenthood, they should have like hysterectomy, hysterectomy R Us or something.
R Us, yeah.
And they just have people
We
going
got a
in.
2-for-1 special. Bring your friends.
Stop being hysterical.
Oh,
All right,
we'll
wait.
get some comments on
Come
that.
on, that's just funny.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Hopefully, people that have been watching us for a while get that our sense of humor is pretty interesting. But it is humor.
It is humor. It's
Yeah,
not
like
meant to
like
belittle.
earlier when
Yeah.
in the beginning of this thing when you said there's an Asian doctor or whatever, and I'm like,
Dr.
and I immediately go like Doctor Who,
Doctor
and then who's on first? I'm like we'll go right down. Our aunt and uncle. We have an aunt and uncle who, when we have a family get together, they can't wait for the two of us to get in the room.
Because they go,
Especially
there
Uncle
they
Jimmy
go.
who passed.
Yeah, Uncle
He used to love when the two of us would get going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We got a little off topic, but
Yeah.
no, I understand. That's I've never heard of that. So my daughter when she was in grammar school, they said she had ADHD. They wanted to give her Ritalin.
Right. That's what they did back then.
My wife said at the time, no way, because what is Ritalin? Isn't it a
Speed.
derivative
It's
of
speed.
Yeah.
For
So
you
you're
drug addicts out there, it's speed.
So you're gonna give my kid speed?
Well, interestingly enough, you give a kid who really we'll say really, 'cause this is the way the medical field thinks. If they really have ADHD, and you give them Ritalin or a stimulant,
Isn't it a derivative of cocaine, Ritalin?
I don't remember now. Maybe, but I don't remember. I just know it's speed, whatever speed is, because I didn't do drugs.
I didn't do drugs either.
But it somehow reverses that. Like if you took it, you don't have ADHD, and you took it, you'd be awake for 3 days. You're like, holy crap.
I don't
But
need
someone who has it, it allows them to focus.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. And I think they found out, if you study a lot of drugs and stuff, they find this stuff out by accident. Like they give somebody something like, oh, we didn't expect it to do that.
Like Viagra. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
accidental.
Was
wasn't
it a heart blood pressure?
It was, but for blood pressure, I
Yeah,
believe. And
yeah, I
next
think
thing
it's a
you
blood
know,
pressure thing.
Guys
And,
are
guys are at attention, for a while. One other thing, and this is off topic, but I just wanted to put it out there because maybe
My girlfriend was calling me.
um,
I said, "Call me later."
one thing, this is totally separate, but I saw this and I just wanted to tell you about it and tell you guys this. San Francisco School District tried to do this, and luckily the mayor and some other parents and everything else all fought against it, and they got it knocked down. But they were going to do you'll love this one, grading equity. So they're going to grade in school.
Okay.
So if you got you're not graded on homework or any classwork. That doesn't count. But if you get an 80 on a test, that's an A.
Oh, so we're lowering it by
If you-
20%?
Oh, wait to hear this one.
Or 20 points.
If you got a 21, that's a D. So you could get 4 out of 5 questions wrong, get a 20, and you almost have a D average. This is what they were going to do.
Where is San Francisco?
Oh, I think it's in California.
Why don't that break off and just
Yeah, I know.
let them become a separate
Yeah,
state?
let normal people move
Like
and have an earthquake.
The state of confusion.
Confusion, yeah. State of denial.
What the hell are they doing?
Yeah, they literally wanted to lower all the way down to a score of 21 would be a D.
That's just like,
When I was in school, 69 was an F.
I'll leave that one alone.
No, and it still is.
When I was in school, 69 was something else.
Which led to F. No, but now it's like, if you've got a 60,
It might lead to a kid.
who then goes to school, I guess an F.
It gets an F.
But no, it's yeah, 69 was an F. So
Yeah, then he lowered it to 60.
Well, yeah, then they did lower it to 60 at one point. Like that. But failing, oh, we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Failing was less than 70. So you had to get 70 or above in order to prove that you got, you took in the knowledge.
Yeah, and
that was way lower.
Not only that, when you went to school, high school, this is high school. It's not really that long ago. You had to wear a collared shirt.
Well, not me. No, they changed it right before I went to high school.
Oh, okay.
Because our uncle, who's only 6 years older than I am, and actually was our older sister is 3 years older than me. Her and our uncle were in high school together. She was a freshman, he was a junior. And he was our uncle. He had to wear shirt, tie, and jacket to a public school.
Now, ride the bus with me one day and see the way the kids.
Oh, I drove school bus. You know that.
The girls are half naked.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
it's
like,
ridiculous.
How do they allow?
They wear pajamas to school.
Yeah, slippers.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. So here's
because
another
they let it go, and then they let it go, and they let it go. But yeah, when I went to school, you finally. So I went to high school in 71 through 75. You finally could wear jeans and sneakers. But prior to me even getting there, like a year or two prior, you had to have a collared shirt. But Gary used to have to wear a tie and a jacket to school, and this was public.
Girls wore dresses.
And girls wore dresses to public school.
Not just
and
mini shirts either.
And if the dress was, I think it was like above your knee, they'd send you home. And that was public school.
I see girls wearing like crop shirts and I'm like belly button rings.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't get it.
But another thing that I don't understand is no student left behind. I stayed back in 7th grade was the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, George Bush.
You don't just keep pushing people ahead.
No, and then they don't want to. Well, we don't want to like harm people or make them feel bad by keeping them back. You know what?
You're harming them anyhow.
But they don't care.
When they get older.
No, they don't care.
Like the girl that graduated from Hartford Public School. That went to college.
Went to college.
On high honors.
Right. And had to get out.
Can't read and write.
Couldn't read and write.
So what was that? What happened there? So anyway, this was about vaccinations.
Well, yeah, but
it all leads into.
I just wanted to throw in that last thing because I read this the other day.
We're about 37 minutes in.
Yeah, I read this the other day. I'm like, I gotta tell you, like this San Francisco thing is nuts. Luckily, the mayor, whoever that is, maybe had a cognitive like awakening or whatever for a moment and said, we ain't doing this. But anyways, all right. So
this was about vaccinations.
Yeah, it was.
And we will lead into other things because it does lead into other things. And we'll just roll with it. That's why this is the channel, Two Brothers Opinions.
Right, because we're going to have opinions on a lot
We're
of
not
stuff.
just going to say vaccinations, this. Okay, gobbye, folks.
You know,
we'll lead into other things. And like, again, these are our opinion. My opinion is vaccinations have not been studied long enough with the mixing of the vaccinations and what it does to our children.
Yeah, because it's doing something.
It's doing something.
Because this is...
School is insane.
Yep.
I would not be a teacher today, ever. I don't care if it was $300,000 a day.
Yep.
I wouldn't be a teacher. Not to deal with the disrespect, punching teachers, and no, thank you.
No. So, anyways,
well,
we'll do your subscribe thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're not doing the dumb Democrat, are we?
Oh yeah. I forgot the dumb Democrat of the week. Oh man, I forgot that. Thanks for telling me. Because I don't know if you had one, but I had one. We're going with Joy Behar.
Oh my goodness.
You know, the cows on the View, all 5 of them.
Yeah, why don't we just do that?
The cows on the View.
The cows on the View. The cow jumped over the moon. No, why don't we just say the dumb Democrats of the week is the show The View?
Well, yeah, but let me just tell you what she just said.
Okay.
Because this is how dumb she is. Joy, we hate you. So the Democrats are spending, I think it's either 2 million, I think it's 2 million or 20 million. I can't remember. They're trying to win back, reclaim the man vote. Like they're doing an effort to try and get men back because they lost them this last election.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? She said that's a waste of money.
Okay.
That is a part of that I agree with. Why are you going to spend that kind of money just to get guys back? Have better programs or platforms, and maybe the guys will come back. But then she kept going.
Okay.
She suggested that teaching men to not be such sexists would be a better use of the money.
What does that mean?
Well, we're all sexist because we're men.
I don't know. I like sex.
See, because they won't vote. They wouldn't vote. No, they wouldn't vote for a female president.
Oh, that's
They voted for a male president. Trump
if Trump
versus-
wasn't running, and one of my female favorites was
Yep.
running,
I'd vote for her.
I'd vote for her in a heartbeat.
Yep.
As long as it intertwined and
There were a couple that I like. I'd be like,
we should do a show on that.
yeah, we should. The
So-
women of
Politics.
conservatives
Politics.
or politics in general, and
Of conservative and
versus and look.
we
at
can't
the,
say liberal
No,
because we're liberal in a way.
to some degree.
To some degree, we are.
Yeah. We're not strictly like hardcore right.
No.
No.
Heil.
Yeah. I knew him.
No, but
He
serious.
lived on the street.
But serious, we're not.
No,
we're
no,
not
no.
hardcore right.
No, because we're
Conservative.
there's-
We
there's-
have a liberal side to us. In other words, if you want to use pink hair and change your whatever,
Go ahead. I think you're
and
weird,
you're
but go ahead.
Go ahead, as long as you don't bother other people.
right.
And that's what liberalism is.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah. No, it is. It's like go live your life, and as long as you don't like
bother me.
bother me or bother other people,
Right.
don't shove it in our face.
Correct.
Like, you want to have a pride flag in your house? Go ahead. You want to make the capital of every state in the country have one? No.
No.
Don't shove it in my face.
There you go. That's the
Yeah.
difference. So we might do that. We might do a
Yeah, we might.
women in
That's
politics
a good
or left
idea.
and right women.
That's a good idea. Well, I like that.
Write that down.
All right. As soon as I get a pen.
So anyhow,
right.
we're gonna end this. It's 41 minutes in.
Yeah, but,
Jesus.
that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Well, thank you very much, folks, for listening to our little podcast. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
And don't forget, you have a voice. Don't let anyone silence it. And we like you to wait for the end of our next video where we do the Dumb Democrat of the Week.
Yeah.
We're trying to get like a little fun thing at the end like that. But it's true. It's not just fun. It's true.
Yeah, we're not doing it just to.
Well, God.
Well, we are in a way.
I am.
Yeah.
I want to point out how how much of an idiot they are.
Get some good people, and we might vote for you. And with good things.
They don't have any good people.
No,
But yeah,
no.
if they do, I would at least listen.
Yeah. So once again,
Yep.
another wrap up.
Yes.
Thank you,
And
folks. Put
yeah.
your comments in.
Yeah,
I know we're gonna get
yes.
a few.
Oh, yeah, good. Keep them coming.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, folks.
Bye.
Bye bye.